What's up, guys? My name's Anthony. Welcome to the channel. Today we've got an extremely bullish Ethereum video. We're going to be talking about some breaking news, talking about an all-time high of addresses holding at least one Ethereum, and get into the Ethereum ETF. That's right, we have an Ethereum ETF releasing this week. We're going to talk all about it in this video, as well as get into some price action. But before we do, I just want to thank all our new and returning subscribers to the channel and ask you, if you haven't subscribed, to do the same. On this channel, we help you navigate the wild ups and downs of cryptocurrency through news videos, technical analysis videos, and crypto project reviews. So at the time of this recording, Ethereum is trading at $604, up over 5% on the day. So what is the news that was breaking? And this literally just released in the time I was prepping for the video. Came out just 2 hours ago, and we do have an all-time high of addresses holding Ethereum. So what is that number, and where did the data come from? So the data comes from a website called Glassnode, which is a metrics website, and they put out the figure which states 1,175,681 people. I say people because it's individual addresses, right? And every address is a wallet. So, right, that's potentially over 1 million people that now are invested in and own at least one Ethereum. And even though this is the highest number that we've seen all time, the increases that we've seen do not touch what we saw when Ethereum first launched during the 2017-2018 bull run. But I am here to tell you that I'm not worried about that at all, because we are still in, I don't want to say the early phases, but the first half certainly of the current bull run. Remember, if you don't know this, cryptocurrency generally runs in 4-year cycles, and they are based around the Bitcoin halvening. And the rest of the cryptocurrency market, including the altcoins, which certainly includes Ethereum as the number one altcoin, they tend to rise with Bitcoin. And we have a long way to go with Bitcoin. And with bullish news like the stuff we're about to talk about here, I do think the sky is the limit with this. So let's talk a little bit more about Ethereum and just how well it's been doing before we get deep into the ETF here. Before this year, most investors' first stop was Bitcoin. So that was the gateway. That was the one that investors were getting into. But according to Michael Sonnenschein, which is the managing director at Grayscale Investments, which has investment products that track both and allows investments from institutional and accredited investors only. So Grayscale Investments, they have been dumping a ton of money. They are the ones who have the Bitcoin trust asset that people can invest in. And really, it's accredited investors, which are very wealthy people and institutions. So they've been tracking Bitcoin, but now they're talking about Ethereum. And it's important to remember that the Ethereum blockchain is the most actively used and built upon in the world. So while Bitcoin's up approximately 170% year to date, Ethereum, or Ether, is up about 360% amid a boom in decentralized finance, or DeFi, which of course we've covered on this channel, which often uses its blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, to power in what many instances have been described as blatant money grabs, similar to those seen during the crypto bubble of 2017, which was really surrounding the ICOs and whatnot. But I do believe that the DeFi movement will have much more staying power than those ICOs. Many of those ICOs, if you were here during that time frame, have really vanished and kind of gone to zero and haven't really recovered. And now what we've all been waiting for, let's talk about this Ethereum ETF. So this idea was actually first conceived by Vitalik Buterin himself in Ontario. And, reading about this, I realized that Vitalik is native Canadian. He is a Canadian. I didn't realize that. So Ethereum is now available to Canadians in the form of an ETF. Next week, Canadian digital asset investment manager 3iQ will be launching an IPO for the world's first Ethereum ETF, the Ether Fund, on the Toronto Stock Exchange, TSX, under the ticker QETH.U. The maximum offering for the launch is $100 million, and the closing date of the offering will be no later than December 10th. So there will be an Ethereum ETF by December 10th, and the IPO is launching this week. But I want to back up just a minute for those of you who don't really understand ETFs. So let's talk about how a crypto ETF, just briefly, how that differs from a regular DTF of an equity or stock. A cryptocurrency exchange traded funds works in theory like any other ETF. While most ETFs track an index or basket of assets, a cryptocurrency ETF would track one or more digital tokens. And the point I want to drive home to everybody is that there are two reasons that this is bullish for Ethereum. Well, really three. The first one being that a whole bunch of new investors are going to be exposed to the asset and have the ability to buy it. That's number one. Now, number two, ETFs could be a remedy to many of the barriers preventing mainstream investors from entering the cryptocurrency market. So some people, I should even say many people, they don't want to deal with having to buy and control and custody their own cryptocurrency. They would rather have someone do it for them, and an ETF makes this possible. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is how cryptocurrency ETFs could track a single cryptocurrency or a basket of different digital tokens and currencies. So as an investor myself, like when I think of an ETF and the stock market, I think of a basket of different products. Like you could buy a precious metals ETF and you'd own a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver, a little bit of platinum, etc. Right? But in the case of cryptocurrencies, and specifically with this ETF, we are talking specifically about Ethereum and just tracking that with the USD. So to my knowledge, I don't think this is Ethereum and all Ethereum-related projects, meaning projects built on the Ethereum blockchain. I think it's just Ethereum itself. And I feel like that was an important point I wanted to make to everyone watching this video. Demand for Ether has clearly reached the point where they're now launching a public ETH-specific ETF, beating America to the task. So Canadians are beating Americans to this task, and also Europe, where there are numerous exchange-traded notes, but not yet a European crypto fund. That's in Europe. Outside of the USA, however, the crypto stock options have increased significantly in the past 2 years, which is great. We're seeing adoption, we're seeing acceptance, and we're seeing financial products allowing people to have access to the asset class, which is huge. Can't overstate that. So here's the thing, in bull markets like we're in right now, you get a lot of good news. And sometimes, you have to kind of stop and realize just how bullish certain pieces of news are. And I do believe this is one of those stories. And that's why I wanted to make a dedicated video on this for us. And here is the Ethereum US dollar chart on Coinbase. You're looking at daily candles here, so you can see extremely bullish price movement. Had kind of what may have looked like a double top here, although I don't think this will end up becoming a reversal pattern. But the two levels I do want to point out here are this upwards resistance line. It's not a trend line up here, but it is a very clear resistance line. So I believe if the asset rises and can break out of what might actually be also an ascending triangle, and I'm probably going to tweet out an image to that, so make sure you're following me on Twitter if you want to see that. But I do believe we are potentially forming an ascending triangle here, and if we break out of that to the upside, I would be targeting a breakout somewhere around the end of December and looking at a breakout somewhere around the price of $670 and would potentially be a great trading opportunity. Obviously, if you can tell, I'm bullish on Ethereum long-term, and it is my number 2 long-term hold next to Bitcoin, as it should be. And I will say this isn't financial advice, but off the record, if you don't own any Ethereum at all, it might be in your best interest just to buy 1 or 2, because we could see this thing breaking $1,000, maybe even breaking 2 or 3 this year. And I'm going to do a separate video about how high I think it could go in 2021. So again, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. On that note, hit the like button if you found value in this content. Enjoy the ride, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.